Now, were we expecting anything different?
Roxiie says we're gonna talk about it.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Roxiie with Roxiie Says, and we're going to talk about it. Today, we are reviewing Traitors Season 3, the finale, and the reunion episode, okay? And it was really good. So let's get right into it. But before we do, please don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you are made aware every time I post a new video. All right, y'all. So y'all already know what it is. We pick up right where we left off, waiting to see Brittany's vote. And just like I thought she would, Brittany voted for Danielle. Baby, even though I was expecting it, the way that I screamed, and then I cackled when I saw how Brittany wrote Danielle's name with that little heart next to it. Girl, like, what did you think the heart was supposed to do? Like, yeah, girl, I know I betrayed you or whatever for a second time, but look, I put this little heart next to your name and I didn't write Danielle, I wrote Danny, so that should soften the blow. Girl, Brittany claims that she didn't think that her vote would save Danielle, and then she starts trying to cry, but I didn't see any tears for quite some time, and Danielle is just looking at her and she's like, wow, you did it again, as she should. As she should. You wanted her on your team so bad when she's already backstabbed you in the past, Danielle. That's on you, baby. That's on no one but you. I bet that if Carolyn had allowed you to recruit Brittany, she would have seen that there was so much suspicion around you, and she still would have tried to get you banished. She would have rode off into the sunset with Carolyn until they got to the very end, okay? Just because Carolyn had way less suspicion around her at that time, and you had so much around you, she still would have gotten you out of here. Don't get it twisted, all right? So now it's time for the circle of truth, baby, and Danielle thanks everyone at the table. She goes from person to person except for Brittany. When she gets to Brittany, she's just like, wow. While Brittany is there still trying to get just one tear out. So Danielle says, you know what? My goal coming here was to win for my family by any means necessary. And of course, I'm a traitor. And I said, okay, so you really were lying on your grandkids, but we're going to get to that in the reunion episode. Anyway, everyone gets up, they're jumping, they're cheering, and Brittany pulls a Danielle and she actually starts crying and shaking. She was able to get the tears out then, okay? She didn't start shaking as much as Danielle. She didn't do that much, but she had a little shake in there. So everyone is crowding around Brittany and they're telling her, don't worry, it's okay. You did so good. You made the right choice, just like they did Danielle in the previous episode. And in Danielle's confessional, she says that she's absolutely pissed because she didn't think that Brittany would cross her. And I'm trying to understand why she didn't think that. Why would you, Danielle, come on, girl. Seriously? Like, there's no way that you could have possibly known this. Meanwhile, in Brittany's confessional, she claims that she really, really wanted to make it all the way to the end with Danielle, but the people were way too suspicious of her, and she just hates the way that everything happened. So, child, now we find out who the seer is, and the seer is Brittany. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. And Alan reminds them that there is no red room tonight, and tonight's roundtable was the last one. So now we see everyone, they're chatting about how much acting that Danielle was doing throughout the season. And Dolores says that she feels absolutely ashamed that she even believed Danielle. Dolores, you got other things to be ashamed about too, like them votes that you've been casting. Girl, what is wrong with you? Seriously. And then we see Dylan. He's putting his thinking cap on, and he gives theories about what Brittany can do with her ability as a seer. If Brittany is a traitor, she's going to label whoever she brings in as a traitor as well. That's what Dylan is suggesting. And in his confessional, he says that he feels like Danielle's last words to Brittany were very personal because there's something deeper there, and Danielle felt truly betrayed. So now he believes that Brittany is a traitor, and he also thinks that she's going to pick someone who she can easily frame as a traitor. So she picks Gabby, and Gabby is Gabby is just so adorable to me. She is so nervous. So Brittany tells her that she needs someone who she can go forward with in the game, knowing that they are 1000% faithful. And Gabby's like, yeah, I know, me too. She was so nervous. But of course, the card reads that Gabby is a faithful, okay? So next we see them all at breakfast. No one has to walk in because there was no red room last night. We see Dylan, Ivar, not to be confused with Gary from The Golden Bachelor that I also reviewed. Child, the comments had me cracking up. I don't know why I had Gary. They do look alike, okay? They do look alike, but I do not know why I had Gary on my mind. But we see them with Dolores discussing Dylan's theory that if Brittany comes back and says that Gabby is a traitor, then they'll just have to take both of them out because it'll mean that one of them is lying. So Brittany reveals that Gabby is a faithful, and Gabby thanks Brittany for telling the truth about who she is. And I was like, don't sound too thankful before they think that y'all are working together, okay? Don't thank her too much. So Dylan is confused now because he was convinced that Brittany was going to frame Gabby as the traitor. But in Brittany's confessional, she says the reason why she didn't do that is because it would just be her word against Gabby's, and then the suspicion would be on the both of them, which is exactly what Dylan was saying in the first place. And then we see Dylan in his confessional, and he's like, wait, hold up. What if both Brittany and Gabby are the traitors? And remember, Dylan has been looking at Gabby as a traitor since forever. He only started, having some doubts about it in the last episode. So after breakfast, we see a couple more theories floating around, and Ivar says that Dolores has refused to vote for the last two traitors at the last roundtable, which is true. So Dolores deserves that suspicion because of all them stupid ass votes that she's been doing. That you earned it, okay? Then we see Dylan go to Brittany, and he tells her that he notices that Danielle went harder on her than anyone else, and he says that it feels personal. So now Brittany knows that Dylan is suspicious of her, okay? And in Dylan's confessional, he says that his goal for tonight is to banish Brittany, and her plan for tonight is to banish him. And we see that Dolores still wants to vote for Ivar tonight. Dolores, baby, I'm gonna need you to stop, okay? I need you to stop and focus. So Dylan has to get everyone on the same page, but he needs to move really fast because we already see Brittany in Gabby's ear trying to put some suspicion on him, all right? So it is time for their final mission where they can add up to $25,000 to the pot. They must find hidden golds and hidden cars, and the clues for the locations are written on a scroll. They have 30 minutes to solve the clue and find the cars and the goal. So they figure the riddle out pretty quickly, and then they drive to their destination. Then they run to the other destination. They find the cars. They find the money. Everything is right with the world, okay? And I'm here like, hold on. There's no way that that's the entirety of this mission. There has to be a catch, right? So as soon as they bring the moolah back to Alan, he's like, oh no. I forgot a detail. I forgot to tell you guys something. Oh, silly me. I love when he does that. It's so funny. And we see a helicopter come up from behind Alan, and he offers them the opportunity to double their money. So they each have to take 2 bags into the helicopter, fly over the castle, and drop the bags into the burning ring of fire that they remember from their very first mission. But wait, there's more. They won't be traveling in the helicopter. Oh, no. They will be dangling underneath the helicopter, and they got to account for wind and the height when dropping the bags, all of that, okay? So Dolores and Brittany are the first team to go, and they missed the first bag, but the second bag made it in, okay? And they banked $10,000. See, I would participate in this. I definitely would. I wouldn't be excited about the heights, but I would be game for it, okay? I just can't look down. So Ivar, he goes alone, and he banks $5,000. Dylan and Gabby, they go as a team. Look at that. And they bank $5,000. And Dylan and Gabby are so supportive and sweet to each other during this challenge. They share a big hug after. They're celebrating. And Brittany is giving them the side eye because she doesn't like that at all. She needs Gabby to be on her side. She needs Gabby to be her friend, not Dylan's, especially with what she has planned for tonight's roundtable, okay? Anyway, they add a total of $37,500 to the pot for a total of $204,300. All right. So everyone is preparing for the roundtable, and Brittany is casting doubt on Dylan by telling them how shocked and upset Danielle was when Dylan voted for her. Almost like it was something very personal and it was traitor on traitor. Now, that's a good point because Danielle did look truly hurt by that vote. She wasn't expecting it. And the ladies also agree. Meanwhile, Dylan is telling Ivar that he's voting for Brittany tonight without a doubt. Ain't no questions about it, okay? And he says that he feels like the only way that Gabby is a traitor is if she's a traitor along with Brittany and they teamed up for this whole seer thing, all right? But he's more certain that Brittany is the traitor. He still has his doubts about Gabby. So then we see Dolores. She goes over to Dylan, threatening him, talking about, you better not vote me off, okay? If you're gonna vote me off, tell me now. But don't spring it on me at the round table. Don't do it. I'm not playing with you. I was like, damn, D. Now, I understand where you're coming from, but on the other hand, you can't come up in here telling people what to do with their votes when you've been throwing your votes away for weeks. Go sit down somewhere, Miss Dolores, okay? But the last people who we saw the lady speaking to was Dylan. And although Brittany's theory makes a whole lot of sense, I just feel like as a whole, everyone trusts Dylan more at this point, okay? So it is round table time, baby. And remember, whoever is banished tonight does not have to reveal their identity. So Gabby goes first. And once again, she thanks Brittany for being honest with the information that she gained from being the seer. And she says that she knows. She's like, I know that if Danielle had the power, it would have been some mess. I don't know exactly what would have happened, but it wouldn't have been like this. It would have been some mess. And that is a fair assumption. Okay, I think we can all agree on that. So Ivar says, well, I think that Dolores is a traitor because I've always had a suspicion. And I was waiting for the rest, like I was waiting for some examples, but they never came. But then Dolores says it's just not in her DNA to be a traitor. And she doesn't give any reasoning at all either as to why she thinks that Ivar is a traitor. All she can say is that he has been on her list. Ivar says, well, I'm not a traitor because I don't do drama, okay? I've been in the public eye since I was a kid, and I just don't do drama. And I'm like, okay, I am sick of both of y'all at this point. I really am. So Dylan comes out and he says that he's going to vote for Brittany. He makes a case for her, seeming to have personal beef with other traitors like B-Rob and Danielle. And he thinks that Danielle and Brittany plan to make it to the end together. And Brittany says, yeah, it might have seemed like there was something deeper with me, but I can easily say the same thing about you. Danielle was absolutely distraught by your vote. She said it was unbelievable. You clearly hurt her with that vote. Why is that the case, Dylan? She also says that Dylan was going harder to win the last challenge and get the seer power because that's what a traitor would do. And honestly, if I was Brittany, I would have also added how close B-Rob and Dylan were in the very beginning and that they teamed up to get Bob the drag queen banished, okay? Because remember, Dylan had mentioned Bob the drag queen, but he totally lost that argument. And then he came in with B-Rob, who really brought it home and got Bob the drag queen banished. But baby, the way that Dylan started stuttering after Brittany said what she said, I'm like, all right, Dylan, don't mess up now. Don't mess up now. You're so close. Don't mess up like how you did at the round table when Bob the drag queen and Robin, they threw you around like a damn rag doll, okay? And you didn't know what to do. Even after that debate, Bob H was like, you gonna need some help because they ate you they ate you up. So now Brittany is getting real hyped. She getting real excited. And Dylan compares her behavior to Danielle's behavior. He's like, yeah, why you acting just like how Danielle was acting and she was a traitor. And as soon as he said that, she checked herself. Brittany did, and she calmed down a little bit. But she was like, well, you're accusing me of stuff, so I have to defend myself. I'm not just going to sit here and let you say whatever. So then Dylan says, I actually think that Danielle recruited you, Brittany, and the way that you're attacking me right now makes me feel like you're a traitor even more. And I'm like, yeah, girl, you got to calm down. But Brittany flips it, and she says that it would have made more sense for Danielle to have recruited the faithful of the faithfuls, which is him, okay? And I agree with that because one thing's for sure, she definitely should not have recruited your ass, Brittany. She definitely should not have. So Ivar and Dylan say that Brittany would have been the meek traitor that they've been mentioning in previous roundtables. And Brittany was like, do I look meek to you, Ivar, huh? Do I look meek to you? And he was like, well, not now, but definitely in comparison to the other traitors, you would be the meek one, right? In terms of Danielle, Bob the drag queen, Boston Rob, not Carolyn so much, but you get what I'm saying. Brittany is definitely, second to Carolyn, the most meek and unassuming of that group of people, okay? So then Dylan tries to talk again and Brittany cuts him off and he was like, okay, forget it. Jesus Christ. Dylan was so over Brittany at this round table. And I think that because of how Brittany acted and the way that people love Dylan so much, just for that, I was like, oh girl, they about to vote you off. They about to get you up out of here. You cannot talk to the golden boy Dylan like that, all right? And child, we get a confessional from Dolores, and she says that for the first time in this game, she's gonna vote with her brain instead of her heart. And I said, whoo, girl, thank you. Finally, it took you long enough, Dolores. All right, so it's time to vote. Brittany votes for Dylan and says, don't come for me unless I send for you. Now, don't y'all go using that quote thinking that it's from Brittany because it is not. Okay, I just got to let that be known. It is from the Kenya Moore from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Just let's get that straight, all right? So Dylan, Ivar, Dolores, and Gabby all vote for Brittany. And I said, damn. I said, damn, they were not playing with her. So Brittany is banished and she doesn't have to reveal her identity. So now they have a choice, okay? They can banish any suspected remaining traitors at the fire of truth, or if they believe that everyone there is a faithful and there's no more traitors, they can decide to end the game. And Dylan is very nervous because he feels like Brittany definitely made a good case and framed him at the round table, and now he's sure that there is some suspicion around him. And in Brittany's confessional, she says, look, even though I got banished, I at least wanted to make sure that I burned this whole castle down behind me. And she didn't quite do that, but she definitely has the others looking at Golden Boy Dylan a bit sideways, okay? So they're at the fire of truth, where each person can select one of two pouches. One pouch either says end game or one says banish again, and the decision must be unanimous. So Dylan knows that it's his best bet to try to end the game ASAP because of the suspicion on him. Even though he thinks that Gabby is still a traitor, he says, look, that's just a gamble that I'm willing to take at this point. Dolores is also suspicious of Dylan, but she says that she would feel absolutely horrible if she stopped a true faithful from making it this far and not winning, all right? So they all give Alan their pouches, and he says that if they all burn green, that means that they have unanimously decided to end the game. But if any pouch burns red, all four of them must banish again, all right? So Dylan burns green, and he says that he chose to end it because he wanted to win with the people he trusts. And I'm like, okay, that sounds cute, Dylan, but we know why you really want to end the game now, all right? Ivar votes to end the game because he says he doesn't believe that there are any traitors left. So what's all this BS that you were doing with Dolores? What's that about, Ivar? Anyway, Gabby votes green because she feels like a banishment at this point would just be out of pure greed, and she says she's made it this far without being greedy, all right? So she's not gonna stop now. So child, now it is up to Dolores. And I said, girl, girl, don't play with me. If that flame burns red like your lipstick, I'ma be so upset. I'm gonna be so upset. So Alan throws Dolores's bag into the fire of truth, and it burns green. And I said, finally, Dolores. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dolores. She deserves a round of applause for that. So now it is time for everyone to reveal their identities. Gabby, Ivar, and Dolores all reveal that they are faithfuls. And now it's down to Dylan, and he reveals that he is a faithful, as we all know, and they all celebrate and rejoice together. I was so happy for them, and Alan lets them know that this is the most faithfuls to have ever won. As some of y'all know, this is my very first time watching and reviewing Traitors. So to start on such a sweet and wholesome episode where the faithfuls won and so many of them won and they all seemed really sweet, I'm so happy for them. Y'all have no idea, okay? And then Alan reveals to them that Brittany actually was a traitor. So now you know they are super happy. They're so excited because they got her out just in time. Brittany would have taken all of it. All of it, okay? I am ecstatic for them, and I'm so happy that Brittany did not win, all right? So, child, it is reunion time, hosted by Andy Cohen. Everyone looked bomb. Everyone looked so good, okay? And Andy starts off by congratulating all of the winners, and he gives Dolores a special shout out for being the very first housewife to win. And then he goes right into her ridiculous ass voting, which was weird to him because he says that he knows her to be way more savvy than what her voting showed. But she claimed that during voting, she sometimes would let her temper get the best of her, and that's why she had voted for Tom so many times. I'm like, okay, girl. But she said the reason why she was upset with Tom was because she knew that he was voting for her because he was too afraid to vote for the other traitors. I'm like, okay, well, that does make sense, all right? So Gabby says that she's learned how to sniff out all of the BS by having to date 26 guys when she was on The Bachelor. And Ivar says that he's surprised that he's even made it this far. And all of the other cast members were like, yeah, we're surprised too. Like, why are you even sitting on that couch? How are you even sitting on that couch? And Dylan says that Brittany went so hard at the round table, so he was very confident that she was the last traitor and they got her out, okay? So we get to the beef between Danielle and Carolyn. And Carolyn says that she thought that things were going very well at first, and I'm sure that things didn't go bad in Carolyn's mind until she found out that Danielle told that lie to Brittany, which was so unnecessary. But Danielle describes what they shared as organized chaos, all right? So Andy asks Danielle, if you were so mad at B-Rob for turning on Bob the drag queen, why did you turn on Carolyn the very next week? Why didn't you turn on B-Rob instead? Because you know, in Danielle's confessional, she was like, damn Boston Rob. I'm so upset. I'm so mad at him. So why did you go for Carolyn? And she says it's because B-Rob had way too much power and she felt like Carolyn and B-Rob were actually working together against her. And Carolyn says that she's aware that her personality and her quirks do work in her favor. She's like, I totally understand and I accept that. But she says that she was still hurt by seeing the side eyes and hearing the shady comments that were made about her. So child, when Andy asks her if she feels like Danielle respected her, she starts to cry and she's like, oh my God, I didn't want to cry about this, but no, I do not think that Danielle respected me at all. And Danielle says that she thinks that their issue was communication, but she says that she was impressed with Carolyn's game. She says that she knows Carolyn is smart and she does respect her. But she says, girl, your personality was definitely a major advantage for you. I personally don't think that Danielle respected Carolyn as a traitor because as soon as B-Rob left, she couldn't wait to try to get Carolyn banished, right? I feel like if she really respected Carolyn as a traitor and respected her game the way that she's saying, she would have tried to keep Carolyn close, especially because Carolyn didn't really have any suspicion around her throughout the game, all right? So we see Gabby backing Carolyn up, and she says that Carolyn stayed true to herself during the entire game, and she also mentions that the game has a lot of sexism, so in addition to whatever quirks Carolyn has, just being a woman resulted in them not being taken as seriously as the men, and we saw that as well. Remember, in one of the later episodes, Carolyn asked Dylan if he would even be questioning her stance right now if she was Boston Rob, and Dylan had to admit, he was like, no, you're completely right. And Gabby agrees that watching back as a viewer, Carolyn did not appear to be very respected among the cast, okay? So they give Carolyn her flowers and they tell her that she is very loved and she is respected. And I felt like that was a really nice moment. And apparently she is number 7 in the world on Cameo, which is really huge, okay? Cameo is where you can, purchase a personalized video message from a celebrity. So Carolyn is bringing in that money, child. She bringing in that dough. So next, they bring up when Bob the drag queen made that unnecessary comment early in the game that made Boston Rob get his ass banished, okay? And Bob the drag queen says, I don't even remember saying it. Imagine getting banished, messing up your entire game for something that you don't even remember saying. I was cracking up. And Danielle and Boston Rob agree that the statement wasn't even that impactful in the moment. So to us as a viewer, it was like, oh my God, why did he say that? But apparently in the moment, it wasn't really a big deal. But Boston Rob says that he had to act on it. He's like, it was a big deal to me. It was a big deal to me. And Bob the drag queen says, look, I wasn't boisterous and loud on this show just because I was a traitor. That's just how I am, period. In life, it don't matter what I'm doing. I am always going to be the center of attention. And he says that his goal was to dominate every scene and every situation in the game. And he would have been the same exact way even if he was a faithful, okay? So then we get a fan question that gets Boston Rob to admit that when he was banished and he claimed that he would have went all the way to the end with Carolyn and split the money with her.
That was a lie.
Yeah, okay, as he shouldn't, okay? Because who would? Who would make it all the way to the end and split the money if they don't have to? If they can get you out of here, why would they not do that, all right? But he does say that he has enough perspective and self-reflection to see now that he didn't have to come for Bob the drag queen as early and as harshly as he did, all right? But baby, when B-Rob says that he should have been trusted and no one should have had the goal of getting rid of him early, even though he had said they should, everyone gets on him and they're like, boy, you are full of shit. You need to stop it right now, okay? But he's like, look, I always take my people far. Y'all know me. That's what I do. And then Dylan jumps in and he's like, yeah, you were going to take me far because I'm a rookie. You were going to take me all the way to the end. And then you were going to red run me like you did on Deal or No Deal Island. And B-Rob was like, yeah, pretty much. That's what I do. That's what I do. So then they ask Danielle why she put messy traitor in her Twitter bio. And she tells the story of how she didn't know that Dolores used to be a corrections officer. And when Dolores had asked her if she was a traitor, Dolores swore on her family that she wasn't. So because of that, Danielle swore on her grandkids that she wasn't a traitor. And she says that she did that because Dolores is Italian and she knows how important family is to her. Girl, you still could have said, you know what? I don't swear on my family, but I promise you, girl, I promise you, I am not a traitor. I just don't swear on my family because I just don't do that in any situation. Something. You could have said something. Don't swear on your damn grandkids, girl. And she told Dolores that her dad is a preacher, which he is, and all of that, right? So she was really trying to sell it to Dolores. And I'm like, okay, so that's why you named yourself Messy Traitor? Because you swore on your grandkids' life? That's a little bit more than messy, all right? Andy asked Danielle if she did swear on her grandkids, not once, but multiple times, and how she's able to reconcile doing that. And Danielle says, yes, I did. did. I sure did. And it's because even though the money wasn't life-changing, it would have definitely made a big impact on my family. Danielle, I'm sure that that's the case for all of the people here. Everyone, you're not the only one with a family, girl. And I can understand swearing if you're telling the truth, but swearing when you know you're telling a lie, girl, that is next level. That is next level, okay? Anyway, at least Danielle admits that she broke Carolyn's trust and she couldn't get it back, so she understands why Carolyn didn't want to seduce Brittany and make her a fellow traitor, okay? So we see Brittany come out, and Andy gets right to it. Brittany, how did you feel about betraying Danielle not once, but twice? I said, let's go. Let's talk about it, okay? And she says that it was really complicated because she just couldn't shake the thought that Danielle would also red rum her in the end, which we all know she definitely would have, okay? If she was going around swearing on her damn grandchildren, ain't no way she was splitting that money with anyone, all right? So then they get into this back and forth about if Dolores really did give Brittany the signal to vote for Danielle, and Dolores claims that that never happened. And Brittany is like, we all watched it on TV, and Bob the drag queen jumps in and he's like, look, she could have been looking at anything, which is true, okay? And editing could have played it up to make it seem like that as well. We know how things happen on these shows, all right? Then Bob the drag queen checks Brittany and he's like, look, you did Danielle dirty and you didn't have to. You didn't have to do it on Reindeer Games and you didn't have to do it here on Traitors. And honestly, I feel like Danielle also didn't have to make someone who backstabbed her before a fellow traitor. Clearly, everyone was on here doing things that they didn't need to do. Bob the drag queen, you did not need to throw B-Rob under the bus, right? Everyone was making decisions that they clearly didn't need to make. Even Dolores was like, look, Danielle, you deserve to be voted off by Brittany because fool me once, shame on you, but fool me twice, baby, shame on me, all right? Child, then Danielle and Brittany, they get into a back and forth because Danielle believes that they were friends because they spent some time together before Reindeer Games. And Brittany corrects her and she's like, look, look, you keep saying that we friends. We've only spent like 3 cumulative hours together before that. We're not lifelong friends. We haven't known each other for years, and you're trying to make me look bad when you say that. I'm sorry, but Danielle expecting any type of loyalty out of Brittany is asinine, in my opinion. I don't care if they spent 6.5 hours together. Unless y'all were really friends and y'all went way back before this and she never betrayed you on a previous show, there should be 0 expectations from her. And even some friends that you've known for years, you still gotta watch, okay? But overall, Danielle understands, and she says that even if she didn't like it at all, it's the same thing that she did to Bob, the drag queen, and she understands that it's all a game, okay? They address the rumor of Danielle secretly telling Brittany that she was a traitor, and they both deny it. They say that they take their NDAs very seriously. And I'm like, okay, cool. What else would they say? So they say it didn't happen. I guess it didn't happen. I'm sure that neither Danielle nor Brittany would ever admit to that because they can possibly both get in some trouble for it, okay? So they bring a few more people up and they ask Tom how he feels about somewhat redeeming himself and having people write in saying how much they love him and saying that they want to see him on even more competition shows. Now, y'all know that I love Tom on this show. I still have to find that compilation of him and his relationship, and I'm sure that that will change my mind, all right? But he says that he is super flattered and he had no expectation on winning. He is just happy for the experience. Then we see Chrishell, and she is asked why she had people target Nikki first before trying to get rid of Tom, since she hates him so damn much. And she claims that that was her biggest regret in the game, and she was so scared to speak up after that because of the big mistake that she made with Nikki at the round table. And Nikki forgives her, and they hug, and all is well. Baby, the way I cackled when they asked Boston Rob why he blamed his vote for Nikki on Chrishell. Because even in my review, I thought that was so hilarious. He's like, I'm voting, because Chrishell is making some good points. I'm like, B-Rob, why you put it on Chrishell? Why did you do that? And he was like, look, I just wanted to pass the buck and get the blame off of me. That was the name of the game. Then we see the clip of Wes flipping everyone off in his goodbye speech, and he admits that he's a bitter ass bitch. His words, not mine. He said, I'm a bitter ass bitch, and I was pissed off about it. But he also acknowledges that he lost his best gamer of all time title to B-Rob because he was able to get him out of here. And he's like, look, if we ever play another game together, I will make sure that Boston Rob is voted off first, okay? Then we learned that Zac Efron, who is now Dylan's brother, okay? He did hear B-Rob's comment about him not being a good actor, and Dylan says that Zac said, tell Bob the drag queen that he needs to watch Baywatch. I am sure that he's gonna love it. So they bring out the rest of the cast, and baby, Bob the drag queen and Dorinda get into it. into it after a question asking why Bob the drag queen and the others came for her so early. And even Bob the drag queen was like, why am I being named specifically? It wasn't just me. But Dorinda says the reason why they got me out of here is because they know that I'm smart. But what really pissed me off was hearing Bob the drag queen go around gloating, saying that I'm mad. And she's like, that's the part that I don't get, because I wasn't mad. I was extremely sad that I got booted off. I even called Andy and I was crying about it. And she says that she thinks that Bob the drag queen made comments about not knowing who she is in order to get more airtime and more fame. Dorinda's words, okay? So Bob is like, I didn't dislike you. I just red-rummed you. And baby, when Dorinda tried to cut him off, Bob the drag queen is like, hold up. You just told me not to interrupt you. You can't interrupt me. That's how conversations work. And I said, ooh, child, not you doing the same thing that you just got upset at him for doing less than a minute ago. Dorinda. And she's so annoying because she just keeps repeating the same thing over and over about Bob the drag queen saying that he didn't know who she was. That's what her issue is. That's what her main issue is. She says that it's because of this and that. It's because Bob the drag queen said that he didn't know who she was. And Bob the drag queen is like, that's not a dig. I didn't know who you were. You didn't know who I was. What's the problem? You don't watch Drag Race. I don't watch Housewives. And Dorinda just looks like she can't believe that he doesn't know who she is. She's just like, I feel like this moment said a lot more about Dorinda than Bob, because that ego is up there, girl. No, everyone doesn't know you, sis. She was like, how dare you say that you don't know who I am? That's the energy that it was giving. And Bob the drag queen says, look, I didn't know most of the people here, but you're the only one taking it personally. That's crazy. And Dorinda looks dumb because she's still trying to cut him off with nothing to say other than, it was just mean. It was just mean to say that you didn't know me. Okay, Dorinda, get over yourself. Next. So they talk about Boston Rob going from dad to zaddy in Sierra's eyes after that bug challenge that they did together. Didn't I tell y'all that Sierra was acting like the wedding was real? I told y'all that, okay? So Sierra says, y'all don't understand. Boston Rob used to be so hot. I mean, he's still hot. He's still hot. She had to catch herself. Boston Rob is still a cutie. Don't get it twisted. But everyone says that they loved how he talked her through that challenge, okay? And they did get their Veal Empowerment NYC. I saw a picture of it. They looked so happy and adorable together, okay? So Tony says that he called Boston Rob a sellout on the way out because even though the Bambis and everyone got on him at the round table, it was Boston Rob's extra comment added to it that really hurt him, because he says that there's supposed to be an unspoken rule that Survivor family is supposed to stick together and never turn on each other. And Jeremy says, yeah, I didn't really see the strategy in Bob the drag queen and B-Rob trying to get me red run, but it's okay. I'm cool with it. I'm a gamer. I understand. And Bob the drag queen reiterates to everyone again that his main strategy was for the red rums to not come back on him. He's like, that's it. There was no other rhyme or reason for anything that I did, okay? But Jeremy reminds Bob the drag queen, yeah, but I looked out for you. As soon as Dylan said that he was going to come for you at the round table, I told you what was up. And Bob the drag queen was like, okay, you did. Sorry. Like, like, what you want me to do now? The game is over, all right? So we see Bob the drag queen. He shouts out Derek for doing the most impressive investigation and laying all of the facts out on the table for B-Rob being a traitor. And the fact that they still voted for Wes instead blew his mind. He said he was screaming at his television when he was watching it. Child, then they talk about how B-Rob had Dylan in his back pocket for the entire time, which is true, okay? Dylan was hanging on to Boston Rob's every single word. And now Bob H is jealous of the little bromance that B-Rob and Dylan have created. He's so jealous. He's like, you don't come pick me up from the airport. Like, what's that about? He wants to be in the bromance, but he's not. So then they shout out Sam for his method of trying to suss out the traitors at the breakfast table by asking them what Alan was wearing. We all remember that scene. And then they get on Tom for interrupting and saving Carolyn. Remember, I was like, Tom, shut your ass up. And at that point, moving forward, I would have definitely have thought that Tom and Carolyn were traitors working together. But Tom said that he just assumed that everyone saw Alan, so he didn't know that he was messing up anything. They're like, okay, you can't read the room. You didn't see us telling you, like, shut up. But he thought that all of the traitors and the faithfuls saw Alan that night, okay? Robin makes a good point of viewers thinking, oh my God, how did they not see that? How didn't they catch that? But she's like, look, we're not looking at the same 3 people who y'all know are the traitors. We're looking at 23 people. So yeah, we can't see everything. We're going to miss certain things. And I'm like, you know what, Robin? That's a good point, because when we are watching, we are zeroed in on the Traitors, okay? So they do a little award ceremony for best traitor performance, and they play a bunch of memorable clips from each traitor, but the winner is none other than Danielle, okay? And she thanks God and her castmates. And I said, oh, so you're not gonna thank those grandbabies that you lied on? You're not going to thank your grandkids at all, child. But everyone congratulates her, and they do agree that she was committed, and she did put on the best performance this season. Even when the cameras were off, they said that she was still in her acting mode. It was a 24-hour job, okay? Robin says that she's seen so many people saying that Danielle is the worst traitor ever, but she's like, how can she be the worst traitor ever if she made it through 8 roundtables, which is one of the longest runs in Traitors history? I said, okay, well, we got to give Danielle her props for that, okay? And Robin continues, she's like, is it that she's the worst traitor, or maybe she's just the most annoying? Either way, she did a really good job, and she made it really far, okay? I do think that if Danielle didn't cross Carolyn so early, she could have built that trust, got Carolyn up out of here, and she probably would have took this whole thing. I honestly do believe that. So they play another compilation to congratulate all of the winners, and Dolores says that it's a great feeling. She got to call her mom and tell her mom that she won something, and she's never been able to do that. And the way I got choked up, I was like, oh my God, I was not expecting that. Dylan says that this was really meaningful to him because it was his first show, and he was extremely intimidated because he's watched and looked up to these people. So to now be accepted by them meant so much to him, and he says that he's friends with everyone here still. And Andy, with his messy ass, is like, well, how does it feel now that people are referring to Zac Efron as your brother? Which is hilarious that he said that, because I remember explaining the game and the players to someone, and I was like, you know Zac Efron? They was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, Zac Efron is Dylan's brother, as opposed to saying Dylan is Zac Efron's brother. And I'm like, ooh, some changes are going to happen in that family, all right? But you can see that Dylan is always going to respect and give his brother his props. But it will be interesting to see Dylan go on to do even bigger and better things after this, which is honestly inevitable because he did so well on the show and he's so well liked. Everyone loves him. I'm sure we're going to see him in a lot more stuff. Gabby says that she loves that they were able to challenge the thought of women not being believed or taken seriously or respected, and she loves how strong the women were on the show and how much they banded together. And baby, that is the end of Traitors Season 3 finale and reunion. I really enjoyed this season. I really did. I want to thank you all for rocking with me, for being patient with me, because there are a lot of things that I didn't know or didn't necessarily understand because I've never seen the show before. And y'all have been great explaining things to me, explaining who the people are, explaining what the process is. Thank you all so, so much. I really appreciate all of you. I hope that you all stick around because I will be reviewing a lot more things in the future. Don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe before you leave. Thank you again so much for being here and giving me a chance to review this show. And I guess I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye.
Roxiie says we're gonna